Now I have to ask myself what I can make here. And I rather eat my own food than, that's often what other people cook. Because I know that I'm cooking in the spirit. Creating a good meal. Okay, now I have to ask myself what I'm actually making. All right. Just to show you, I have been creative again. Well, I'm not so sure about that one. That's an Evo seed. That's my first attempt on. I will never smoke it. Right, this is for oil. If, then it is for oil. For relaxation, right? Yes, to remember the dishes. Okay, this is some chai tea. I mean, chai means tea, which means that chai tea is like a double. This is the latest artwork. So I just started working on myself again, trying to figure out what to do next. And now I'm hungry. I don't know why. Yesterday I ate a lot. And now suddenly I feel super hungry again. And I just don't know why. Like, where's this hunger coming from? Well, all I can say is that it's better to react to it. Because if right, this is like, let's say a woman craves a specific man, then she has to either react to it or lead kind of an unfulfilled existence. And so one of my choices was at some stage to simply say, hey, you know, I just have to learn to be super creative. And then at the end of that creation, right, there'll be a child. Which means there'll be a woman at some point, and then we'll crave each other. And that's just what I wanted, right? This is actually what I wanted for a very long time, but I never managed because there was also never a woman that allowed me to figure myself out enough to the point where I could, right, channel it all, right? So sometimes you need somebody to simply believe that you're in. And then just be patient with you and simply say, hey, you know, I only want that guy in me. Right? Also in your mind, right? You don't want everyone in your mind. Okay, this is actually interesting because this is made with such a material, but I feel like I could do it like this. So I'm gonna make a dinner, no, a meal. So I still have potatoes, right? They'll go at the bottom. This is a leftover scramble deliciousness. I feel hungry and nothing can satisfy it. If that be a woman here, I know what I'll do. I know what I would do, but there's none, so there's only me, and there's this insane surge of sexual drive it's driving me nuts. I mean, it's literally leaking out of me, and now it's leaking into food. I don't know why I have to eat. For me, eating is a bit like sex. When I make food, it's literally sex. That's like the dessert that the Merovingian... I knew he was gonna say that. Yeah, good job, man. Good job. Right. Better to say it yourself than to know that somebody else is gonna say something. I'm just saying. You know? Yeah. It's better to never think you're better than anyone, because you were never in the same room with me. Plus, you've never done all that I did, and I've never done all that you did, which means that, just focus on your actions instead of trying to predict what I'm going to say, because it's meaningless. Everything I'm saying is meaningless. It's what I'm doing that's important. Okay, can I still eat this avo? It's a bit brown. I bought 4 for 50 cents. And it's a bit of a gamble always. Okay, so I've got an idea that still needs to take shape. Which means to say, I have a feeling and I'm trying to express it. But it's very delicate work. And the way I know myself, I'm not gonna do it until I have what I want. But what do I want? That's a problem. Because most of the time I actually do not know what I want. So I'm just really frustrated. And I just do random things. Trying to find relief. Right? Trying to flow into whatever creation presents itself to me. And then simply passing off the time where I'm alone. And I may be alone for the rest of my life, I'm just saying. But then I'm just going to have sex, right, and go nuts by myself. As lonely as this sounds, but, if no woman comes, and you are very specific, and you say, well, actually, I've already chosen a woman, but if she'd never come, then that's the challenge, and I'll keep telling you that you should stop jumping ship, right? You pick a woman that you cannot resist, and then you ask her nicely or something, right? Would you like to, bond? And then that's it. You say the next one I'm gonna sleep with is going to be my wife, and then you wait, and then you're gonna pin yourself down. Right? But it also depends on the woman in a way, because this is a holding on to each other. That's what it's about. It's a, holding on to each other. Right? If I would only do the holding, forget it. Right? Sometimes maybe I'm trying to run away. I'm trying to get away. Right, and then I have to know that my woman also will notice. So, women also have to pay attention. Because, and that's what I said at one point, it shouldn't just be me that wants this woman. It's this Jake Sully mentality, you know, the woman must also choose me. And that's what I said. You know, I'm just going to wait for a woman that wants me. And at some point there was this woman. You know, but then I also wanted to know, well, does she really want me? So I just started to be as vicious as I could be. And actually she was doing the same thing. Yeah. And if you manage, if a woman flips you the finger and you say I love you too, well, then you're basically winning. You know, I'm just saying. But you have to know that. You have to know what a woman means without the words, right? So apparently, if she isn't here, then I still have work to do. Was für ein Schwachsinn, Alter. You know, why do you have to earn things? I'm just saying. Well, the idea is the harder you work, the better you're gonna know how to deal with yourself in the end, which means that if you see your wife as your reflection, which she is, she's like a mirror. And I'm listening to Serge Tankian, who used to be affiliated or like in this band System of a Down, which was probably one of the best decisions he ever made. But he knew that already, right? He said it already in an earlier interview that he was going to leave the band. And I absolutely relate to that because I appreciate me being creative on my own. Because other people rarely ever know how to deal with a lot of attention that just gets to their heads. Because a lot of people never earned it. And then they just start taking it for granted. I mean, plus they have no real goal. Right? They don't know what to do with the attention that they receive. So attention is the food of the artist because it's energy. In that sense, yes, it is raw power. So if you manage to draw attention, then what you get is emotions and energy from the audience who starts to kind of like identify with you. It's a form of worship for anyone who doesn't know why artists want to do art. Because they channel a lot of energy, and that's basically sex. And that feels orgasmic. Imagine Freddie Mercury standing on a stage and doing "Hey-oh!" and the crowd replies. I mean, that's an orgasm for you. But then the crowd comes and starts to project all kinds of images onto you, or tries to control you, because now they want to keep you around. Now they want to say, hey, you know, because I give you energy, this is like, you know, I watch your content, So I'll get to decide what you're gonna do next, and you're like, yeah, fuck it, you know. If you wanna choose, you know, do it yourself, right? Because if you watch my content, all you are is just a follower, right? I'm walking. And then what you are basically like the people who ran after, you know, Tom Hanks in Forrest Gump. And then Forrest Gump just stops running and everyone's like, what? And now? You know, their purpose was just to be followers. Well, if you want to be a follower, then be a follower. Stop making demands. Pick someone that you want to follow and then just follow that guy. But if he dies, you know, don't mope about it. You know? Because in that sense, you know, I give what I have to give. I give what I feel like giving. I'm channeling. I'm doing you a favor. And for that I get up and I feel nauseous. And I cannot really spend time with anyone. Because I'm too intense. And they just go mad. And I mean, I have observed lots of people. What they do with the energy that I give them. No, which is why I stopped going to the park. Why? Because these people are just complete pricks. I mean, you go there, you channel energy. You know, they eat this energy, which is what happens, right? If you channel energy and you go somewhere, then, you know, you raise the energy level and then they feel more powerful. And what do they do with that? Well, potentially they go and watch porn. And then you're like, well, I'm not going to give anything to you then. Because, you know, if I channel energy, let's say in a park, then these people come and they just think they can do what they want with it. But I do not do what I want with it. I take responsibility and I channel it into certain things. Which is why, if I would surround myself with people, I'd probably first have to buy land or buy property. And then when somebody comes, they know they have to behave. There are certain rules. You cannot smoke there. You have to help. Plus, you cannot just come and go as you please. You know, I'd be then more living in like a commune. You know, that could work for me. That could work for me. Why? Because there are rules. And if you think like, you know, we have no rules, no bullshit. There's rules. You know, you have to be respectful with other people. You have to be respectful with children, with women. You know, you have to be respectful with everyone. Everything. Which doesn't mean you cannot slaughter a chicken. But you do so with respect, right? And that's the whole point. You just have to be respectful. And there's so many people who you first have to teach respect. And if you don't do it, then life will do it. Which is why you just drop them back into the pit. And if you observe interviews with System of a Down, then you see that Serge Tankian, you know, he has a completely different mindset than everyone else. It was getting to their heads. They were thinking they were like some kind of super being. Well, what they forgot is, without Serge Tankian, the whole band wouldn't exist. He was the leader. But they were priding themselves that they were super important. But Serge Tankian knew what this was about, that this is about channeling energy. Yeah, and so at one point, he left the band, and the band was gone. Right? Like, would the drummer have left, they could have replaced him. But you cannot replace Serge Tankian. You know, I'm just saying. So as an artist, as a true artist, who is connected to the entire universe, right? You are irreplaceable in that universe. right? I have made myself irreplaceable to certain people. And now I'm just gonna put that in the oven. And I'm gonna eat it. Because there was a lot of food. And I haven't had cheese in a while. And believe me, I'm trying to eat less food. But I have just this insatiable hunger that I have had as a child. I mean, I have always eaten a lot of food. You know, I just got better at making food. I got better at choosing which food to eat. I'm also drinking red wine at the moment. Eating chocolate. Because yeah, I'm full of greed. And this is something the woman, right, I fell in love with would appreciate. Because I'd be full of greed with her too, you know? You know, I was digging, you know, oral sex, but only if I wanted to please the woman. So I have no problem with oral sex. There may be people who have problems with it. I have no problems with it. You know, if I worship you, you worship me, we worship each other, we do this together. Sometimes I like to give you pleasure to help you relax. Sometimes, you know, maybe you'll give me pleasure to help me relax. I mean, if I'd be a woman, I'd love giving blowjobs. I know that already. Because I know that if I please a woman, which now is only exactly one, right? Which I just like to rub into people's faces. There's only one woman that can get that from me. And that's just a choice I made. And she's not even here, right? I haven't heard from her in over a year. And I just say, well, that's it then. You're the only one who's gonna get that. Because you're the best mirror I found. Or the best, you know, I just fell in love. I just saw myself in a woman. And that's how it should be. And what I started saying was that when I remember how I used to or will again, you know, hard to say, I'll just let life decide. But when I remember how I used to please women orally, I mean, I felt the energy flowing. I felt the energy flowing. And I'm not sure if you can relate to other beings, if you can feel, if you're perceptive. You know, it's a very, you know, you feel when you please the woman and the energy is strong between you two. I mean, you pleasing her, your arousal becomes her arousal, and her arousal becomes your arousal. And then it's just arousal. And then you merge into each other. And there's no need for drugs because you've done your cleansing, so energy is flowing anyway. You know, you're always high on DMT because you've cleansed your pineal gland, right? Some people say fluoride is blocking it, which they put into toothpaste. So I don't brush my teeth. You know, very simple. You know, I just, if I feel like I have toothache, then I adjust my diet. You know, then I say, okay, maybe I need milk, maybe I need meat. Reduce sugar. You use anti-inflammatory, or whatever spices such as cloves to a certain degree, because what's anti-inflammatory, you know, there's a lot of misconceptions that we have about things like fever. You know, sometimes you have something in yourself like a cold or what people call a disease, which I just call energy. and this energy is maybe really heavy, and let's say it's making you sick. It's giving you, like, you've got like tumors, you've got like what people call cancer, which to me is just energy, right? That people try to express on a physical plane, but to me there is no real physical plane. There's like, you know, whatever. So I work with everything on a kind of like an energetic level, which means that if I'd have cancer, you know, or I would start feeling sick, you know, well, in my case, I would never go to a doctor. I'd just change my diet. I'd do a fast. You know, I'd go hiking barefoot. I'd make art, and then I'd feel better. But most people, they have none of these methods available because in their mind, they're trapped in these concepts such as, you know, you have to live your life in a certain way, and when you get up, you drink a coffee, you know, and then you take a shit, and then you go to work, and then you sit there, and then you do your job, and then you go back home, and then you hate your wife, right? And then you reject her food, you know, whatever. This is the concepts you have in your mind. This is how a day or life should look like. Because you never looked over the fence and said, you know who's on the other side? Well, it's the boy in pajamas. Oh, let's switch places. I'd like to see what your life is like. Well, you know, have fun because it's gonna be short. You know? Bam! Yeah, I just like pointing out these things. Because in a sense, I don't care, man. If you're stupid, well, then the boy in the pajamas possibly survived. And the aristocrat's child, you know, cheerio! That's life! You know, you're a sapling, you stand in the forest, a tree falls over, bam! Crashes you. You know, you're gone. So if you fail to see how you can transcend whatever you think your cancer is, well, goodbye then, you know. Happy chemotherapy. But maybe this will bring you enlightenment going through this ordeal of a hack job, which is not healing, it's just pure ignorance. But yeah, I mean, probably reduces population to just treat people with poison. You know, I'll rather just look at it, react to it, change my diet, reduce sugar, right? You know, I'll just reduce sugar instead of shooting insulin or something. I mean, you can inform yourself. And that's called self-responsibility, right? The world is full of information and you're acting like you know everything. Oh yeah? Do you know how it's like to be a Tibetan monk? No? Then what do you know? Nothing. You cannot know anything because everything that you think you know is just a reflection of the experiences you've had until now and the opinions you have formed accordingly, which is why it's better to simply have no opinions. It's simply better to have no opinions. You see what I'm saying, right? If I'm not channeling this energy, you know, I'm gonna go insane. You know, it's gonna like be pumping here and I'll just be having sex in my mind, and I'd rather not do that, right? And so yeah. I mean, you wanna know what it's like to be an artist? Well, you're on the verge of going insane, of just running onto the streets, right, and just smashing car windows in. You see yourself doing that in your mind because you've got so much energy you need an outlet, right? I mean, you feel like the Hulk. And then you start making art. And then you just start making art. So instead of like, wow, you know, going running for, you know, you have the energy that you would need to be a professional marathon runner, right? You could be running, you know, easy 10 kilometers per day. But instead, you confine yourself in an apartment, you lock yourself in, you turn off your phone, you turn off your doorbell, which I have, right? It's on red, which means it's turned off. You just turn yourself in. You lock yourself up so that all the energy that's flowing through you is going to be channeled into creation. That's what artists do. They reduce the outlets to the bare minimum and they focus on being creative. So yes, you can be creative as a man and have a child, but only if the woman is not part of the women that take the pill. So at this stage of my life, you know, if I would have to choose a woman again, which I do not, because I've already chosen, good job, I would never have sex with a woman that takes the pill, wants me to wear a condom, has the spiral, or anything else. Well, okay, there's women that lie, that just say, well, I didn't take the pill, but then they took the spiral. Well, how'd you know? I don't know. I can tell you, because women that took the spiral or the pill, what they think they wanted was sex. They just wanted sex, and that's all. So if you meet a woman, you'd never just sleep with her. You would wait. You would wait until, in that sense, she no longer resists you. Until she comes by herself. But you'd have to probably feed the relationship. And then you'd wait. And you could never hold it over her. And then you'd wait. And you'd wait and you'd wait. Okay, but what about the spiral? Does she have to, you know, do they have to take it out then? How do these things work? Well, I'd say you just have to be patient and then let your feeling decide. Never just sleep with a woman just like that. You have to wait. And if you decide at some point, I want you and nobody else, and you're fixed on it, you say, do you want to marry me? And then maybe she'll say something like, well, that's a bit much. You know, let's just go through that one more time. And then you say, okay, do you want to work towards each other? And then she'll say, I can give you that. And then you start spending time with each other and you start testing each other. And then she starts screaming at you and she wants to see how you are. And then maybe it starts, you know, maybe you are a bit in bed and, you know, if a woman asks you to hit her, never do it. Just kiss her then. If a woman asks for anal sex, you know, I don't know, just give her a massage, you know. Never forcefully penetrate a woman, man. So everything you think you see in porn is just bullshit. And so you simply have to learn to deal with this, that you've watched it. And then simply try to never watch it again. But for that, you have to toughen up your body, which is what I have done and recorded. And find an outlet for your energy. I have an outlet, it's a laptop. I have an outlet, it's a camera. I have an outlet, I can go cooking, I can do crochet, but I'm still learning. It's still a lot. Hey, that's my food. So sometimes I just need to be a bit sleepy. And so I'll just eat something. Whew, because it's just a bit much. Right? If the energy is flowing, then you have to find something. Okay. Okay. You know, you like it, you don't like it, who cares? I mean, I'm gonna eat it. Okay? And I never cheated on any woman. I always, right, when the relationship was officially over, then I would do it. You know, until I met one woman where I said, well, it's you or nobody. And then I just stuck with that. I'm just saying, right? Resolve, focus, attention, and then just keep creating. That's all. And then you just let life decide. That's what I prefer to do. Anyway.